You ever do a presentation and the person's really quiet and you're like, okay, what's he thinking or what's she thinking, right? And then when you're done, they're actually like it was really like, I love it, I'm in. And you're like, why didn't you say so a half hour ago? I would have stopped talking, right? In fact, I kept talking. I'm throwing the kitchen sink at them. The husband had to go, Alan, shut up, we're in, right? Then he goes, shut up. So, no, really. So when you're talking to people, I got to get them. So I'll say, and this is straight from Lamarck, you guys. If you're talking to people, let's say I'm recruiting Henry and Tierra, right? I'll say, guys, listen. And again, if someone is single, like you're going to see me close them. If I'm just with Henry and Tierra's working or she's not meeting with me, I really want to do the appointment with both of them. If I've got a husband and wife, I want to get to the KT. If I met him at Starbucks, I'm going to just have a little conversation, pique their interest, and set the appointment with him and Tierra. Don't try to recruit just the husband or the wife without the spouse. You're not going to, if you recruit them, even if you do recruit, it's like hard, okay? You want to get in the house. So if I'm talking to them, I'll say, you guys, listen, one of the things, like, I maybe have given them a basic presentation, or maybe I haven't. Let's say I haven't. You want to use this, and I use it a lot, and I used it last night. I'll say, you guys, let me give you some stats, okay? And they go, yeah. They go, okay. People at 65, this is straight from our government. 54 people out of 100 are dependent upon the government or somebody else. 36 are still working a job at 65. Most of them working because they want to or because they have to. What do you think? And they say? Have to. So that's 9 out of 10 people that you guys know and I know. 9 out of 10. 5 are deceased. 4 are okay financially. And 1 is wealthy. I go, that is the national numbers. And I said, guys, whether we like it or not, we are all a statistic. And that kind of rattles the cage a little bit. So here's what I say. Doing what you're doing, saving what you're saving. If I said to you right now, where do you see yourself when you're 65? And I go, man, that really punched me in the nose, Bob, Sue. And guess what they're doing? They're thinking, me too, right? So think about that as I show you guys what we do with Primerica, okay? Now look at this. First of all, you guys, I told you guys, we're on the New York Stock Exchange, so we're credible, right? I told you, Forbes ranked us one of the top 50 most trustworthy companies. So we have credibility. Would you agree? We have lots of vendors. I showed you that earlier. But take a minute and look at this, you guys. Remember, I'm talking to Henry and Tierra. I want to recruit them. So I say, Tierra, Henry, how long have you guys lived in South Florida? All your life. Tierra, you too? So see, I want to kind of know that, or like her friends have been here like about 20 plus years. So if I said to you guys, do you know anybody in debt? Would you agree with me that a lot of people you guys know probably have credit card debt and have debt? Yes. Would you agree? Now, I don't know if you guys have debt or not. I like throwing that in there because I like watching their body language. Because if he would have said that to me, I would have been like, oh yeah. Now see, I know I got a possible sale there, right? So I'll say, I want you guys to look for a minute and see what we do and how we really impact families, okay? Bob and Sue, they're in their 30s, they got a couple kids. Let's say they're your neighbors. They're making $65,000 a year between both of them. So like $3,100 each, okay? Now they have $30,000 in debt, and they're spending, and they got 27 years remaining, okay? Y'all with me? Yeah. Hang on a second, let me just, bear with me 1 second, guys, I apologize. Okay. Would you guys agree with me that debt's a financial cancer? Yeah. Would you agree, Mr. and Mrs. Klein? Yes. They're probably stressed, don't you think? Don't you think? Yeah. They got 24 years left on their mortgage. They owe $180. Their house actually is worth less, $150, and they're spending about $1,900 a month to service their debt. Look what we did for them. One of our vendors, we use a company called Freedom Financial, and one of our vendors, we put together a plan to get them out of debt in 3 years. Let me show you what we did. We went ahead and they negotiated and they settled the debt, which I'll explain more in detail later if you like, okay? And we cut 7 years off their mortgage. See, they went from 24 years down to 17. Their monthly payment, guys, went down $370 a month. Now think about it. If they're making $65,000 a year, Tier, pretend that was you guys, right? And Henry comes home from work and goes, honey, my boss gave me a $4,100 a year, a $4,000 a year raise. Would you be kind of happy? Well, can you see that's kind of what we did for these people? This program, the client calls an 800 number, and they see if they can help them. Now, if you were responsible for helping this client, you don't make $1 million, but a newer person in the business would make about $197 for that referral. A trainer makes about $241, and an owner or broker makes $293. Henry, how do you think Bob and Sue would feel about you if you were responsible for cutting 7 years off their mortgage and get them out of debt and saving them $4,000 a year?
Yeah, we're good about it.
They probably love you, right?
Oh, yeah.
See, you got to get them attached because people are wondering, can I do this? And what will people think of me if I call them? So I got to get them feeling, wow, they would love me. Pretty good, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in debt. Remember I showed you my presentation? Average household has just under $16,000 in revolving debt. Here's the next example. These people have money in a retirement account. They got 25 grand. They're saving 100 a month. They're earning 1%. And by the way, Henry, the banks aren't even paying 1% right now, but let's just pretend, okay? At 65, they're going to have $76,000 to retire. Can they retire?
No.
Not on a bet. They're in trouble.
Yeah.
We move that money over to us, the $25,000. We now increase their monthly contributions to $390. How do we get that money? Here's what we did, Henry. We took the 100 they were already spending, we moved it over here. And the remaining $290, we got it from reducing their debt. See, we saved them $370 on their debt, right? Yeah. What we did is we took $80 and added it to their mortgage. That's how we cut their mortgage down, okay? And the $290 plus the 100 is $390. Got it? Yeah. In just a decent mutual fund, and Henry, I could show you mutual funds longer than you've been alive that have done this. You'd have over $1 million. Now, if you were responsible for doing that, as a newer person, we pay you about $400, plus we pay you a little bit every month. Every time they put money in that account, you make a little bit for 30 years. A trainer makes this, and an owner or broker makes this. Think about this, Henry. We're going to pay you about $400 plus a little residual, but because of you, this family ended up with $1 million more money at retirement. Who got the better deal, bro?
They got a good deal.
How do you think it'd feel about you, man?
Sure.
Wouldn't they love you?
Oh, yeah, they ain't showing them that.
We actually do this. Here's another example. Here's life insurance. Now, let me be straight up with you, man. I hate paying insurance premiums. I pay a lot of insurance. I hate paying insurance premiums. I got all kinds of insurance. Why? Because I'm a grown-up, and I can tell you stories. So here's an example of life insurance. See, we have a simple concept. If you live too long, meaning you make it to retirement, you better have enough money saved for retirement. If you die too soon, there better be money to take care of the people you love, right? Yeah. Here's an example called cash value life insurance. Now, I might say, who's your life insurance with? That's a little note you may want to write down. Who's your life insurance with? A very subtle thing. And it might say it's through my job, or I got Prudential, and you make a note because I know, okay, now I'm going to get their policy, or they don't have insurance, right? So, Bob and Sue, they currently have $100,000 in life insurance. See that? And how much are they paying, Henry? Can you see that? Can you guys see? As I say in Jersey, $250. How you doing? $250. Now, think about this for a minute, Henry. If somebody runs a red light and Bob's killed or Bob gets sick and passes away, how much is she going to get? $100,000. How much does she owe on the house? Can she pay off the house?
No.
See what I'm doing, you guys? I don't just read it. Can she pay? No. You got to make it like a real person. Look what we did. If you worked with us, check this out. What we did is we do what's called term insurance. Term insurance just means if I don't make it home, Susie gets a check. It's easy. But you can buy a lot for little. Use that. Actually you can buy a lot for little, okay? We put $400,000 on Bob, $400,000 on Sue, $15,000 on the kids just for final expenses, heaven forbid, and to guarantee their insurability. We did a whole family plan for $104. Now, we saved them, Henry, $146 a month. Do you guys understand? That's almost $1,800 a year we saved them. Guess what we'd recommend they do with that $146 a month, guys? And I literally did. I go, invest it, right?
Yeah.
I go, now, will they have more money at retirement?
Yeah.
If the Lord takes him or her home, we bring back $400,000. Let's say he passes, right? I always pick on the guys. Sorry, that's what I tell the guys, right? We bring back $400,000,
Yeah.
and I go like this. Watch, can she pay off the house with $400,000?
Yes, good.
How much she got left over?
200.
220. Can she take care of a funeral?
Oh, yeah.
She's got a couple $100,000. We could probably pull a couple grand a month in income, and she has no mortgage. She's not rich, but is she dramatically better off than where she was?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Do you think they'd be upset if we helped the family do it? Do you think they'd be upset if we paid you $580?
No.
Not bad, right? By the way, how long does it take you to make $580 at work?
About 2 weeks.
About, right, whatever it is, right? A week. Now, you guys, you got to get good at some basic math, okay?
Yeah.
$500 a week, right?
Yeah.
How much is that a year? 26,000? No, that's 24,000, right? Right? 24, 25 grand. So I go, if someone's making 50 grand a year, they got to work 20 hours. And if you make 50,000 thereabouts in America right now, gang, you're in the top 5% in America right now. You make 50. And people go, I'm in the top 5%. I have no damn money, right? Right? It takes them a half a week to do that. And you could do that. You write an app, and if the app takes you an hour, you made what it took somebody at a good job 20 hours. You see that, Henry? A trainer makes this, an owner broker makes almost $1,300. A will. Would you agree most people don't have a will? Do you know everybody kind of does? It's by the state of Florida or the state of Arkansas or whatever. They decide who gets your kids if, God forbid, you are killed together. Did you know that? Don't you? Would you like to be part of the decision-making process?
Oh, yeah.
Do you understand just because someone has your last name is no guarantee that person's getting the kids? You know why? You could say, my brother's getting my kids. But Tierra's sister goes, excuse me, no, no, no. I'm getting the kids. I'm taking them to court. Does that happen? He's laughing because he works in a law firm. Does that happen?
Yeah.
Does that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think people would like to have a say-so on that?
Oh, yeah.
Attorneys charge $200 to $300 an hour, Henry. That's what they charge. To do a will, a living will, and power of attorney for a family takes more than an hour. Would you agree?
Yeah.
It's usually $1,000 to $1,500 is a good deal. Do you think your friends would be upset if they spent $300 through us?
It shouldn't.
It's way less, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think they'd be upset if we paid you $80? Not bad, right? So let's pretend. Oh, by the way, a trainer makes 100, an owner or broker makes 125. So look at this. Let's say we lived in a perfect world, and we don't, but let's just pretend. Your friend Bob and Sue, they had debt. They had an old account they needed to move, earning nothing. They only had $100,000 insurance. You could give them more, and they had no will. Isn't that like a kind of an average American family? If you were competent and knew what you were doing, Henry, we would have paid you about $1,300 to do a one complete plan. Now, every client's different. Some clients aren't going to have debt. Some clients may not, need they may not have a rollover account. But here's the way I look at it. What if the average household, a part-timer, you made $500, and you help one client a week? How much is that a month, Henry? $2,000, right? What would you guys do with an extra $2,000 a month? If you watch me get into the recruiting closing, if you had $2,000 a month, every month, you have to learn how to snap your fingers to be a ring wearer in Primerica. Yeah, Daddy-o, let's go, baby. Okay, yeah. $2,000 a month. What would you do? What would you do with an extra $2,000 a month? He's like, look, he looks like a little kid right now. And Tierra goes, that's how he is most days, right? Okay, but check it out. But understand. Oh, man, I'd save it. What would you save it for? Man, I'd want a new car. What kind of car? We buy a new house. Really? If you were making extra $2,000, where would you live? I'm curious. Art Williams said you have to sell 50% to Crusade